The crystal champagne flutes trembled in Marcus Wellington's hand as the gallery curator's voice echoed through the marble hall. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an extraordinary announcement to make this evening. Marcus watched his daughter, Emma, squeeze the hand of the homeless woman standing beside her in threadbare clothes, and his stomach twisted with dread. The curator continued, her voice rising with excitement. Standing among us tonight is someone I never thought I'd see again. 20 years ago, this woman changed my life. She taught me everything I know about art, about seeing beauty in the world. The spotlight swung towards Sarah, illuminating her weathered face and dirt-stained jacket. Marcus's mind reeled back to 3 weeks ago, to the words he'd screamed at her in the park, words that now burned like acid in his throat. 3 weeks earlier, Marcus Wellington stood in his penthouse office, 45 stories above the city, watching the sun set over the skyline he'd helped build. His phone buzzed with another acquisition notification. $3 billion. Just another Tuesday. He loosened his tie and walked toward the living room where his daughter should have been doing homework. "Emma," he called out. Silence. He checked her room. Empty. His jaw clenched. "Maria." The nanny rushed in, phone in hand, face pale. "Mr. Wellington, I'm so sorry. I was just on a call with my mother for 5 minutes, and when I turned around, find her." Marcus interrupted, his voice ice cold. "Now!" 20 minutes later, Marcus's driver located Emma in Riverside Park. Marcus stormed across the grass, his Italian leather shoes crunching on the fallen leaves. Then he saw her. His 10-year-old daughter sat cross-legged on a blanket next to a homeless woman, both of them laughing as they painted on scraps of cardboard. Emma's face glowed with a joy Marcus hadn't seen since her mother died 3 years ago. "Emma Wellington." His voice cracked like a whip. Emma jumped, paint splattering across her uniform. "Dad, I was just—" "Get in the car. Now." Marcus turned his fury on the homeless woman. She was older, maybe 50, with gray-streaked hair and hands stained with paint and dirt. "And you, stay away from my daughter." The woman stood slowly, meeting his eyes with unexpected dignity. "Sir, I wasn't. I don't care what you think you were doing. If I see you near my daughter again, I'll have you arrested." He grabbed Emma's wrist and pulled her toward the car. Emma twisted in his grip, tears streaming down her face. No. She was teaching me. Her name is Sarah, and she's amazing. You don't understand." "What I understand," Marcus said through gritted teeth, "is that you're 10 years old and you're sitting in a park with a stranger. Get in the car." As they drove away, Marcus watched in the rearview mirror as Sarah gathered up the paints and cardboard, her shoulders sagging. Good, he thought. Maybe she'd learned her lesson. That night, Emma refused to speak to him. She sat at the dining table, pushing her meal around her plate in silence. "Emma, you have to understand," Marcus said, trying to soften his tone. "That woman could be dangerous. You can't trust people like that." Emma looked up at him, and for a moment, she looked exactly like her mother. "People like what, Dad?" "People who are kind. People who actually listen to me. People who are homeless," Marcus said flatly. "They're desperate. They might—" "She wasn't asking me for anything," Emma shouted, standing so fast her chair fell backward. "She was just painting, and I asked if I could watch, and she said yes. She taught me things, Dad. Real things. Not like the stupid tutors you hire who just want to get paid and go home. Emma, she told me that art is about feeling, not perfection. She said Mom would have wanted me to paint. But you don't care about that, do you? You don't care about anything except money." She ran to her room, slamming the door so hard the penthouse walls shook. Marcus sat alone in the dark, staring at his wife's portrait on the wall. Catherine had been an artist before they married, before Emma was born. She'd given it up for him, for his career, for the life he'd built. After she died, he'd packed away all her paintings, unable to look at them without feeling like he was drowning. Now his daughter's words echoed in his head. Mom would have wanted me to paint. He poured himself a scotch and told himself he'd done the right thing. That woman, that Sarah, was a stranger. Homeless. Potentially dangerous. He was protecting his daughter. That's what good fathers did. But Emma didn't see it that way. For 3 days, she barely spoke to him. She ate her meals in silence, did her homework without complaint, and spent hours in her room with the door locked. Marcus tried everything. He bought her new art supplies, top-of-the-line oils and canvases. She left them unopened in the corner. He hired a new art tutor from the city's most prestigious academy. Emma sat through the lesson in stony silence, refusing to pick up a brush. "Mr. Wellington," the tutor said afterward, looking uncomfortable, "your daughter clearly has no interest in learning. Perhaps we should try again next month." Marcus paid him double and sent him away. On the fourth day, Marcus had an early meeting and left before Emma woke up. He didn't see the determination in her eyes as she dressed for school, didn't notice when she slipped her mother's old painting scarf into her backpack. At 3:15, while Maria was distracted by a delivery, Emma slipped out through the service entrance and ran the 6 blocks to Riverside Park. Sarah was there, sitting on the same bench, painting a watercolor of the river. "Emma," Sarah said softly when she saw her, "you shouldn't be here." "Your father, I don't care what my father thinks," Emma said, sitting down beside her. "He doesn't understand anything. Please, will you teach me again?" Sarah looked at the desperate hope in the child's eyes and felt her heart break a little. She'd been homeless for 4 years, ever since her husband died and the medical bills consumed everything. She'd lost her position at the university, lost her house, lost contact with her own daughter who couldn't forgive her for giving up. But she'd never lost her love of art, and she'd never stopped teaching, even if her classroom was now a park bench and her students were whoever stopped to watch. "All right," Sarah said quietly, "but just for an hour. And if your father comes, he won't. He's at work. He's always at work." For the next 2 weeks, Emma came to the park every day after school. Sarah taught her about color theory and composition, about how to see light and shadow, about painting from the heart instead of the head. "Your mother was an artist?" Sarah asked one afternoon as Emma painted a sunset. "Yes," Emma said softly. "She died when I was 7. Cancer. Dad won't talk about her. He put away all her paintings. It's like he wants to pretend she never existed." Sarah put a gentle hand on Emma's shoulder. "He's afraid. Grief makes people do strange things. Looking at her paintings probably hurts too much. But forgetting her hurts more," Emma whispered. "I'm starting to forget what her voice sounded like." "Then paint her," Sarah said. "Paint everything you remember. The paintings will keep her alive in your heart." Emma started painting her mother. She painted her mother's hands, stained with oil paint. She painted her mother's smile, warm and bright as summer. She painted her mother's eyes, full of love and understanding. With each painting, Emma felt her mother coming back to life on the canvas. Sarah watched and guided, never pushing, never criticizing, just encouraging Emma to feel and create. "You're really good at teaching," Emma said one day. "Were you a teacher before?" Sarah's hands stilled on her brush. "Yes, a long time ago." "What happened?" "Life happened," Sarah said with a sad smile. "I made choices, some good, some bad. I lost people I loved. Lost everything, really. But I still have this." She held up her paintbrush. "They can take your home, your job, your dignity. But they can't take what you create. They can't take the beauty you put into the world." Emma looked at Sarah with newfound respect. "You're the strongest person I've ever met." Sarah laughed, but there were tears in her eyes. "Oh, sweetheart, I'm just someone who keeps going because stopping seems harder." "My dad thinks you're dangerous," Emma said. "He thinks you're trying to use me or something." "Your father loves you," Sarah said firmly. "He's scared. Rich people are often scared because they have so much to lose. He sees a homeless woman talking to his daughter, and he imagines the worst. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know that I used to be Dr. Sarah Chun, that I taught art history at Columbia University, that my work has been in galleries all over the world. He just sees someone who sleeps in a shelter and wears donated clothes. And honestly, he's not wrong. That is who I am now. But that's not all you are," Emma protested. "You're kind and wise and talented and homeless," Sarah interrupted gently. "Both things can be true, Emma. I'm not ashamed of where I am. I'm just sad about how I got here. But meeting you, teaching you, it's reminded me why I loved teaching in the first place. So thank you." Emma hugged her, and Sarah held her tight, thinking about her own daughter, Rachel, who was 28 now and living in Seattle. They hadn't spoken in 3 years, not since Rachel had screamed at her that she was weak, that she'd given up, that she was an embarrassment. Sarah had tried to explain, but Rachel wouldn't listen, just like Emma's father wouldn't listen. It was a Tuesday afternoon when Marcus left work early, feeling guilty about missing another of Emma's performances. He'd been so busy with the merger that he'd barely seen her in days. He came home to find Maria frantic. "She's gone again, Mr. Wellington. I'm so sorry. I don't know how she keeps slipping away." Marcus felt ice flood his veins. "The park," he said. "She's at the park." This time, he didn't take the car. He ran the 6 blocks, his $1,000 suit jacket flapping behind him, his heart pounding with fear and fury. He rounded the corner and saw them immediately. Emma and that woman, Sarah, sitting together on a blanket, painting. Emma was laughing, her whole face lit up with joy. Sarah was showing her something on the canvas, her expression gentle and patient. Marcus saw red. He stormed across the grass, and this time he didn't care who was watching. "I warned you," he shouted at Sarah. "I told you to stay away from my daughter." Emma jumped up, paint flying. No, we were just—" "Be quiet, Emma." Marcus grabbed Sarah's arm, yanking her to her feet. "What is wrong with you? What kind of person preys on children? Is this your game? Get close to a rich man's daughter, and then what? Blackmail? Kidnapping?" Sarah's face went pale. "Sir, please, I would never. You're a liar and a predator." Marcus's voice echoed across the park. People were stopping, staring, pulling out phones. "Look at you. You're disgusting. Living on the streets, probably on drugs, and you think you can influence my daughter?" "Dad, stop it." Emma was crying, pulling at his arm. "She's not like that. She's wonderful. She's teaching me." "Teaching you what?" Marcus spun on his daughter. "How to be a failure. How to end up homeless and worthless." "I'm teaching her to see beauty," Sarah said quietly, tears streaming down her face. "I'm teaching her that art comes from the soul, not from expensive supplies. I'm teaching her what her mother would have wanted her to know." The mention of Catherine made Marcus lose control completely. "Don't you dare talk about my wife. You don't know anything about her. You're nothing. You're trash. You're exactly the kind of person who makes this city dangerous." He pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the police. You're going to be arrested for harassment and child endangerment." "Mr. Wellington, please," Sarah begged, her voice breaking. "I understand you're angry, but I promise you I never meant any harm. Your daughter is special. She has real talent. She just needed someone to listen to her, to see her. She needs to stay away from people like you." Marcus shouted. "She's worth millions. She's going to inherit an empire. And you're trying to drag her down to your level." The crowd around them had grown. Phones were out, recording everything. A teenage girl stepped forward hesitantly. "Sir, I've seen them here before. The lady was just teaching her paint. She never asked for money or anything. Mind your own business." Marcus snapped. He turned back to Sarah. "If I ever see you near my daughter again, I will destroy you. I will make sure every shelter in this city knows your face. I will make your pathetic little life even more miserable than it already is. Do you understand me?" Sarah nodded, unable to speak through her tears. She bent to gather her paints, her hands shaking so badly she could barely hold them. Emma broke free from Marcus and threw her arms around Sarah. "I'm so sorry," Emma sobbed. "I'm so sorry. Please don't go. Please." "It's okay, sweetheart," Sarah whispered, holding her tight. "You keep painting, okay? Keep your mother alive in your art. Promise me." "I promise," Emma choked out. Marcus pulled Emma away, and Sarah stumbled backward, nearly falling. She caught herself and stood there, watching as Marcus dragged Emma toward the street. The crowd parted, some people looking disgusted, others sympathetic. Sarah felt humiliation wash over her like a wave. She'd been homeless for 4 years, and she'd experienced a lot of cruelty, but this was different. This hurt more because Emma had reminded her of what she'd lost, not just her career and her home, but her identity as a teacher, as someone who mattered. She gathered her things and walked away, not toward the shelter, but toward the river. She sat on a bench and cried until there were no tears left. Above her, the sky turned purple and gold, a sunset she would have painted once. Now she just sat and watched it fade to black. That night, a video went viral. Billionaire humiliates homeless woman in park. 20 million views in 12 hours. The comments were divided. Some praised Marcus for protecting his daughter. Others called him heartless, cruel, a monster. Marcus saw the video at midnight, unable to sleep. He watched himself shouting, watched Sarah's face crumble, watched Emma sobbing. He looked like a villain. He felt like one too. But he pushed the feeling down and told himself he'd been right. He'd been protecting his daughter. That's what mattered. Emma didn't speak to him for a week. She stopped eating properly, stopped doing her homework, stopped everything. She just lay in her room, staring at the ceiling. Marcus hired a therapist. Emma refused to talk. He bought her gifts. She didn't open them. He canceled meetings to spend time with her. She acted like he wasn't there. Finally, one night, Marcus found her packing a bag. "What are you doing?" "Running away," Emma said flatly. "To find Sarah. To tell her I'm sorry." "Emma, you can't. Why not? You took away the only person who understood me. You took away the only person who made me feel like Mom was still here. You don't care about me. You just care about your reputation and your money." Marcus felt something crack inside his chest. "That's not true. I love you more than anything." "Then why did you hurt her?" Emma looked at him with her mother's eyes, full of pain and disappointment. "She never did anything wrong. She was kind and patient, and she listened to me. She taught me things that actually mattered. And you destroyed her. You humiliated her in front of everyone. You made her cry. You're a bully, Dad. A rich, mean bully." The words hit Marcus like physical blows. He sat down on Emma's bed, suddenly exhausted. "I was scared," he admitted quietly. "When your mom died, I promised myself I'd keep you safe from everything. From pain, from loss, from people who might hurt you. When I saw you with that woman, I didn't see a teacher. I saw a threat, someone who could take you away from me. But she wasn't taking me away," Emma said, her voice softening slightly. "She was bringing me back. I've been so sad, Dad. So lonely. I miss Mom every single day, and I can't talk to you about it, because you won't even say her name. Sarah helped me remember the good things. She helped me feel close to Mom again. And you took that away." Marcus rubbed his face, feeling older than his 42 years. "I am sorry. I handled it badly. But Emma, she's still a stranger. We don't know anything about her. I know everything that matters," Emma said stubbornly. "I know she's kind and smart and talented. I know she understands loss because she's lost things too. I know she made me happy." They sat in silence for a long moment. Finally, Marcus said, "There's an art exhibition next month. Youth artists. Your art teacher, the expensive one I hired. He submitted some work on behalf of his students. Maybe we could go." Emma's face hardened. "I'm not going anywhere unless Sarah can come too." "Emma, those are my terms," Emma said, crossing her arms. "Find her. Apologize. Invite her to the exhibition. Or I don't go. And I keep running away until I find her myself." Marcus looked at his daughter and saw his wife's stubbornness shining through. "Fine," he said heavily. "I'll find her. I'll apologize. But Emma, you have to promise me you'll eat. You'll do your homework. You'll talk to the therapist. Deal?" Emma considered. "Deal. But you have to mean the apology, Dad. You can't just say the words. You have to mean them." Marcus nodded, wondering what he'd just agreed to. Finding Sarah wasn't easy. She'd stopped going to Riverside Park. Marcus hired a private investigator, feeling ridiculous and ashamed. 2 weeks later, the investigator found her at a shelter on the Lower East Side. Marcus went alone on a Tuesday afternoon. The shelter was clean but worn, smelling of institutional soap and boiled vegetables. The director led him to a common area where Sarah sat alone, reading a battered paperback. She looked up as he approached, and fear flashed across her face. "Please don't be angry," she said quickly. "I haven't gone near your daughter. I've stayed away, just like you said." "I know," Marcus said, sitting down across from her. His throat felt tight. "I came to apologize." Sarah blinked, clearly shocked. Marcus continued, the words harder than any business negotiation he'd ever conducted. "I was wrong. I was cruel. I humiliated you publicly because I was afraid, and that's not an excuse. Emma has told me about the things you taught her, about how you made her feel connected to her mother again. I took that away from her, and I took away your dignity. I am sorry." Sarah stared at him for a long moment. "Do you mean that?" Yes, Marcus said, and realized he did. My wife was an artist. When she died, I couldn't look at art anymore. It hurt too much. I've been trying to protect Emma from pain by keeping her away from anything that reminds me of Catherine. But that's not fair to Emma. She deserves to remember her mother. She deserves to explore her talent. And you helped her do that. Tears welled in Sarah's eyes. I lost my husband 4 years ago, she said quietly. Cancer, like your wife. The medical bills took everything. My house, my savings, my position at the university. My daughter blamed me for giving up. She said I was weak. We haven't spoken in 3 years. Marcus felt shame burn through him. What was your position? I was Dr. Sarah Chun. I taught art history at Columbia for 15 years. I published 3 books. I had paintings in galleries across the country. Then David got sick, and everything else stopped matching. I used every penny we had trying to save him. When he died, I had nothing left. No job, no home, no family. Just debt and grief. I'm so sorry, Marcus said, and meant it. Why didn't you tell me this in the park? Sarah smiled sadly. Would it have mattered? You didn't see me as a person worth listening to. You saw a homeless woman, and in your world, that's all I am. Marcus absorbed this painful truth. There's an art exhibition in 2 days. Youth artists. Emma's work has been selected, though she doesn't know it yet. She refuses to go unless you're there. I know I have no right to ask after what I did, but would you come? Please. Sarah hesitated. I don't have anything appropriate to wear to a gallery opening. I'll take care of that, Marcus said quickly. A hotel room, clothes, whatever you need. I'm not trying to buy forgiveness. I'm trying to make things right for my daughter. And for you, if that's possible. Sarah looked at him for a long time. Finally, she nodded. For Emma. I'll come for Emma. 2 days later, Marcus picked Sarah up from the hotel he'd booked for her. She wore simple but clean clothes, black slacks, and a gray sweater. She looked nervous. Thank you for coming, Marcus said as they drove to the gallery. Emma doesn't know you'll be there. I wanted to surprise her. And if she's angry with me for staying away? Sarah asked quietly. She won't be, Marcus said. She's been counting down the days until I found you. At the gallery, Emma stood among her paintings, looking small and miserable in a navy dress. When she saw Sarah enter, her face transformed. Sarah, she ran across the polished floor and threw herself into Sarah's arms. You came. I thought I'd never see you again. Your father found me, Sarah said, holding her tight. He invited me. I'm so proud of you, Emma. These paintings are beautiful. Emma dragged Sarah to look at her work. There were 6 paintings, all of Emma's mother. Her mother painting, her mother laughing, her mother's hands, her mother's eyes. Each one was raw and honest and deeply felt. They're remarkable, Sarah said softly. You've captured her essence. She's alive in these paintings, Emma. Truly alive. Marcus stood back, watching them together, and felt the last of his anger dissolve. He'd been wrong. So completely wrong. The gallery owner, Mrs. Richardson, was making the rounds, greeting guests and collectors. When she reached Emma's section, she stopped, studying the paintings intently. Then her gaze shifted to Sarah, and her eyes widened. My God, she whispered. Sarah? Dr. Sarah Chun. Sarah turned, and recognition flooded her face. Rebecca? Rebecca Richardson. It's you, Mrs. Richardson said, her voice breaking. I've been looking for you for years. When you disappeared from Columbia, no one knew where you'd gone. I tried to find you. Rebecca, Sarah said, tears spilling over. You're the director here? I own the gallery, Mrs. Richardson said. Because of you, you taught me to see art not as commodity, but as soul. You changed my life. Where have you been? Sarah glanced down at her clothes, her weathered hands. I've had some difficult years. Mrs. Richardson took her hands, seeing everything in that moment. Oh, Sarah, come with me, please. She led Sarah, Emma, and Marcus to a private room at the back of the gallery. The walls were covered with paintings, beautiful, luminous watercolors and oils. I've been collecting your work for 20 years, Mrs. Richardson said. Ever since I was your student. When you disappeared, I bought every piece I could find. I kept them safe, hoping someday I'd find you. Sarah stared at her own paintings, pieces she'd created in another lifetime. I forgot I made these, she whispered. I forgot I was capable of creating beauty. You never lost it, Mrs. Richardson said firmly. You just lost your way for a while. Sarah, these paintings are worth millions. I've been trying to organize a retrospective of your work. Art critics, collectors, everyone wants to know what happened to Dr. Sarah Chun. And here you are. Marcus watched as Sarah collapsed into tears and Rebecca held her. Emma squeezed Marcus's hand. She's not just a homeless lady, Dad, Emma whispered. She's an artist. She's a teacher. She's amazing. I know, Marcus said quietly. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. Rebecca led them back into the main gallery. She clinked her glass for attention, and the room fell silent. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an extraordinary announcement to make this evening. Marcus felt Emma tense beside him. He put his hand on her shoulder as Rebecca continued. Standing among us tonight is someone I never thought I'd see again. 20 years ago, this woman changed my life. She taught me everything I know about art, about seeing beauty in the world. She's the reason this gallery exists. Tonight, I have the honor of reintroducing the art world to Dr. Sarah Chun. The room erupted. Collectors surged forward. Art critics pulled out notebooks. Cameras flashed. Sarah stood frozen in the center of it all, overwhelmed. Emma ran to her side, taking her hand. You're famous, Emma said in wonder. You're actually famous. I was, Sarah said shakily. A long time ago. You still are, Rebecca said firmly. Sarah, I want to organize your retrospective. I want to show the world your work again. But more than that, she paused, emotion thick in her voice. I want to help you, the way you once helped me. Please let me. Sarah looked around at the faces, some curious, some awed, some sympathetic. She saw Marcus standing apart from the crowd, watching her with what looked like respect. She saw Emma beaming with pride. She saw Rebecca, her former student, now accomplished and successful, offering her a lifeline. I don't know what to say, Sarah admitted. Rebecca smiled. Say yes. Say you'll let us help you get back on your feet. Say you'll keep teaching because the world needs teachers like you. Say you'll let yourself create again. Sarah nodded, unable to speak through her tears. Emma hugged her tight, and gradually, Sarah hugged her back. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. Collectors wanted to commission new work. Critics wanted interviews. Rebecca introduced Sarah to everyone, reclaiming her place in the art world. Marcus watched it all from the sidelines, feeling humbled and ashamed and grateful all at once. As the gallery emptied, Rebecca pulled Marcus aside. I need to thank you, she said, for bringing her here. I didn't do anything, Marcus said. I'm the one who hurt her, who humiliated her. But you came back, Rebecca said. You apologized. You listened to your daughter. That takes courage, especially from men like you. Men who are used to being right, being in control. What you did in the park was cruel. But what you did after, finding her, apologizing, bringing her here, that was human. We all make mistakes. It's what we do next that defines us. Marcus nodded, not trusting himself to speak. He found Emma and Sarah sitting together, looking at Emma's paintings. They're going to be in magazines, Emma was saying excitedly. Rebecca said everyone wants to feature them. My paintings, Sarah. Our paintings. Your paintings, Sarah corrected gently. I just help you find your voice. You did more than that, Emma said. You saved me. You reminded me that Mom's not really gone. She's in every painting I make, every color I choose, every brushstroke. You gave her back to me. Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. He cleared his throat, and they looked up. Sarah, he said, I know I have no right to ask anything else of you, but Emma and I were wondering, would you consider teaching her? Formally? I'll pay whatever you think is fair. I'll provide a studio, supplies, whatever you need. He struggled for words. My daughter is happy when she's with you. She's connected to her mother when she's with you. And after tonight, I understand why. You're not just a teacher. You're a gift. Sarah looked at Emma, who nodded eagerly. I'd love that, Sarah said softly. But Marcus, I don't need your money. Rebecca has already offered me a position here at the gallery, teaching and curating. What I'd like, if you're willing, is to be Emma's mentor. To teach her because I want to, because she's special, because she reminds me why I became a teacher in the first place. That's more than fair. Marcus said. He hesitated, then added, I have a confession. After tonight, after seeing what Rebecca did with your paintings, I went home and unpacked all of Catherine's artwork. I hung them around the penthouse. Emma deserves to see her mother's work, to be inspired by it. Emma's eyes widened. Really, Dad? Really? Marcus said. I've been hiding from her memory because it hurt. But you were right. Forgetting her hurts more. Emma hugged him, and Marcus held his daughter tight, feeling like maybe, finally, they'd be okay. Over Emma's head, he met Sarah's eyes. Thank you, he mouthed. Sarah nodded, understanding everything he couldn't say. 2 months later, Sarah had reconnected with her daughter Rachel, who flew in from Seattle after seeing the news about her mother's comeback. The reunion was painful and healing in equal measure. I'm sorry I gave up, Sarah told her daughter. I'm sorry I let grief consume me. I'm sorry I wasn't there, Rachel replied, crying. I should have helped you. I should have understood. I was angry at Dad for dying, and I took it out on you. I'm so sorry, Mom. They sat in Rebecca's gallery, surrounded by Sarah's paintings, and slowly began rebuilding what they'd lost. Emma was there too, painting in the corner with fierce concentration. She'd become a regular fixture at the gallery, learning from Sarah 3 times a week. Marcus had funded a teaching studio for Sarah, but she used it to teach underprivileged kids, not just Emma. Everyone deserves to learn, she told him. Everyone deserves to know they can create beauty, regardless of their circumstances. Marcus, humbled by her generosity, had started volunteering at the shelter where he'd found Sarah. He served meals, talked to residents, listened to their stories. He was learning, slowly, to see people instead of problems. One Saturday afternoon, all of them gathered in the park. Marcus, Emma, Sarah, Rachel, and Rebecca. They set up easels and painted together, talking and laughing. A homeless man approached, watching them work. Marcus tensed instinctively, but Sarah smiled at him. Would you like to try? She asked, offering him a brush. The man hesitated, then nodded. Sarah set him up with supplies, showing him how to mix colors, how to make the first stroke. Marcus watched his daughter help the man find his vision, and he felt something shift in his heart. Your father would be proud of you, he told Emma quietly. Emma looked up at him, paint on her nose. I think Mom will be proud of all of us, she said. Even you, Dad. Even me, Marcus asked with a slight smile. Even you, Emma confirmed. You made mistakes, big ones, but you fixed them. You apologized. You changed. That's what matters. Sarah overheard and added softly, we all get lost sometimes. The important thing is finding our way back, finding our way home. Marcus looked around at this unlikely family they'd formed. A billionaire, his daughter, a formerly homeless artist, her estranged daughter, a gallery owner who'd never forgotten her teacher. There were broken pieces that had somehow fit together into something whole. Yeah, he said quietly. Home. As the sun set over the park, painting the sky in shades of gold and purple, they painted together. Sarah's hands were steady now, clean and sure, creating beauty on canvas. Emma painted beside her, capturing the light just as Sarah had taught her. Rachel documented it all on her camera, preserving the moment. Rebecca made plans for their next exhibition, and Marcus just watched, grateful for the second chance his daughter had forced him to take. Later, as they packed up their supplies, Emma hung back with Sarah. I never thanked you, Emma said quietly, for everything, for teaching me, for showing me how to remember Mom, for forgiving Dad, even when he didn't deserve it. Oh, sweetheart, Sarah said, cupping Emma's face gently. You saved me too. You reminded me that I wasn't just what I'd lost. I was also what I could still give. You gave me back my purpose. You gave me back myself. They hugged, teacher and student, both healing, both growing. Marcus watched them and thought about the man he'd been 2 months ago, angry, frightened, cruel. He'd almost destroyed something precious because he couldn't see past his own fear and prejudice. He'd learned something valuable, though the lesson had come at a painful cost. That worth isn't measured in wealth or status. That dignity isn't determined by circumstances. That sometimes the people who seem to have nothing are the ones with the most to teach. As they walked home through the twilight, Emma between Marcus and Sarah, Marcus caught sight of their reflection in a shop window. It looked like a family. An unconventional one, certainly, but a family nonetheless. Thank you, he said to Sarah, not for the first time and not for the last. Thank you for not giving up on us. On Emma. On me. We all deserve second chances, Sarah replied with a smile. Even stubborn billionaires who yell in parks. Marcus laughed, the sound surprised and genuine. Especially them, apparently. Emma took both their hands, swinging between them. Can we get ice cream? She asked. I want to celebrate. Celebrate what? Marcus asked. Everything, Emma said simply. Seconde chance. New beginnings. Finding our way home. They got ice cream. They sat on a bench and watched the city lights come on. They talked about art and loss and hope and healing. And somewhere above them, Marcus thought Catherine was smiling.